Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Telegram, Rumble, and the Prepper Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is December the 29th, 2022, and this is episode 227 of the Workshop Podcast. So how is everyone out there? We are in the wasteland that is the 5 days between Christmas and New Year's, where time means nothing, where meals consist of turkey and leftover chocolates, and all we want to do is nap. I don't know, whatever. Sounded good, didn't it? So yes, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We are right in the middle. So it's good to have everyone. We got so many exciting things. I am excited. If after you listen to this episode and you are not inspired, then I will give you a full refund. I promise. Absolutely. Your money back. Guaranteed. Hey, Rachel Brown. Good evening, Renegade Butcher. Hey, John Palmer. Always good to have you folks. We are live on TikTok as well. We're live on Spreaker over on the Prepper Broadcast Network. We are live in all the corners of the interwebs. So let's get some announcements out of the way because, got an exciting one, which you guys have probably heard a little bit about. But first off, on Thursdays, we always thank our sponsor, my brother Joel from Fortress K9. That man is doing some incredible things. He was on Nicole Sauce's show a while back, and she called him a phoenix rising from the ashes. He literally rebuilt his life from scratch after having a really shitty situation happen to him. And he is building something absolutely great. And Renegade Butcher, if you want a receipt, I can give you one. Absolutely. It reminds me of an old joke about who would give you a receipt for a donut. Anybody know that joke? Hello, anarchist friends. Hello, Martinson family, my fellow Canuck. Always good to have you. So, Fortress K9, the Protection Dog podcast. I will tell you, if you think you get motivated here and you want a verbal kick to the ass, go by and check out Joel, because that man, he is a content creation machine. Check him out. He is also... He is trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on TikTok so that he can live stream over there. I believe he's at 950 right now. So go by, check him out. Just search Fortress K9 over on TikTok and give him a like, a follow, and show him the workshop love, guys. All right, number 2. Tonight, you're going to hear a lot about accomplishments in the workshop and from the workshop community. And if you'd like to be part of that workshop community, the single best way to do it is to join the Telegram group, guys. That's where we shoot the shit. That's where we share inappropriate memes. It's where we make fun of each other, just like a family should, but it's a lot of fun. So let me bring this up. There you go. I'm going to put the link in all the places. So there's no excuse for you not to. If you're like, Tim, I don't need another social. That's fine. Delete one and come join us on Telegram, because it's the place to be. It's where all the cool kids hang out, and a place that I really, really appreciate everyone who is there. We share our information. We share our knowledge. We share how much we don't know. It's a lot of fun. Now, the final announcement for today. This one is a big one. Workshop Radio. So Byron Roberts says Telegram group is great. You are right, my friend. So I've been working on let me back up a little bit. Sometimes when I get a new idea, this is what happens. It percolates back here in the old brain for a while. It just kind of beats around. And sometimes, I don't know, way in the back of the brain that I don't even realize it's working, things are just kind of turning. Then all of a sudden I just spit something out and I'm like, well, shit, you put your foot in your mouth now, didn't you, Tim? But I want to tell you, you guys will hear this on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. But growing up as a kid, I always loved talk radio, always enjoyed listening to it. And it always seemed like there was a radio on somewhere, whether I went over to my grandfather's alternator and generator shop, and it was my grandfather. And then when he passed, my uncle, they always had a radio going. Or I went over to my buddy Danny's, and his dad, Dick, had one out in his workshop. There was always a radio going. And it was just kind of the background, the soundtrack to life. And for a few years when I was really into baseball, always had a game on in the background. There's something about radio. I don't know what it is. So I decided one of the best ways to, hey, Chloe Johnson, good to have you in the TikTok chat over there. I decided the best way to honor all the people who helped make the workshop a success this year was to put all of their content in one place. So what I am doing is this year, starting New Year's Eve, 12 o'clock Mountain Time, going to run 24 hours. I've been testing it out and it's going to work. We are going to have a compilation of episodes, videos. It's going to be 100% audio. Right now, I have 14 different content creators that have been part of the workshop family this year. I've got at least 4 more who are committed that just haven't given me any content yet, but they got a couple days. I'm going to do an intro for each one of them. And basically what it's going to be is 24 hours of freedom-minded, self-reliance, loving folks, all kinds. You're going to get introduced to probably a bunch of content you haven't heard before, some content creators that you're going to like, some content creators you're going to be like, oh, I don't jive with that feller. And that's all there is to it. And I'm not talking about you, Renegade, I promise. But yeah, so there are a ton. I'm stoked. Right now, I've got 16 and a half hours worth of content for you guys. By the time the next few get kicked in, we are going to have a full 24 hours. So it's going to stream from noon New Year's Eve to noon New Year's Day. It's going to be the background soundtrack for you to ring in the new year and be inspired to do great and incredible things that you just don't think you could do. So I'm excited. The pinned comment in YouTube tonight is for the first half. I have to do it in 2 12-hour shows or YouTube won't archive it for me. So it's going to be live. You're going to get some, Toolman talk radio in between each recording. Pre-recorded, of course, and all of us are just going to drop in and out of the chat throughout the day just to say hello and see what people are doing and just have it on in the background. So there, we got it out of the way. So first off, what am I drinking tonight, guys? Well, it's going to be hard to believe, but it's an old-fashioned. But it's a cool one. I want to show you. I'm going to spotlight a few bourbons. My kids got me a couple this year for Christmas. This one right here. So those of you on the audio, you're like, Tim, what are you talking about? It is the Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof. And if you don't know what barrel proof means, it basically means it hasn't been cut down to 40% alcohol. This is 116.8 proof, and it is tasty and a very sippy bourbon. You can sit around and sip it. So there we are. This time of year, guys, it's always a time to look back on what we've accomplished and a time to look forward on the things that we want to get done next year. So I figured, hey, I've got a Thursday show and a Friday show. So Thursday, we're going to look backwards, and Friday, we're going to look forward. So I was going to do a video on this, but I thought it would be more fun for a podcast. And so tonight, we're going to start with, last year I did the top 10 highlights from the workshop. This year, there were so many damn highlights that I stopped counting. I think I got 13 or 14, but it's going to be more than the top 10. And I'm rather excited. So let's dive in. Byron Roberts is drinking Irish Jameson coffee for him tonight. Love it. Always love hearing that. So let's start in no particular order. I made a list. I'm just going to reminisce about the cool things that have happened. We're going to talk. We'll go through there. We're going to see how far we make it. I'm going to look back on my highlights from 2021, just so we can see how far the workshop's come in a year and a half. And then I'm going to share. I put it on social tonight, and I'm going to get you guys to share a little later on. Getting shit done. The greatest thing that you are the most proud of that you have accomplished in 2022. Time to brag, guys. I want to hear it from you. I've got 6 or 7 that I got about 2 hours before we went live. And then if we have time, we might even look at the goals I set. Anyway, so let's get going, guys, because for me, and you've heard this before and you're going to hear it tomorrow, I don't believe in setting resolutions, because once you break them, you move on from them. I believe in setting goals, and goals are flexible. That is something that I have had to learn, because I get so anal and so focused on a goal that if I don't make it there, sometimes I get discouraged. But the thing is, a goal is something to shoot for. And that's why I set high goals, because when it comes around to that, if I miss it, I'm still going to do better than if I set a small goal, if that makes sense. So let's go reminiscing down memory lane for the year that was 2022. Oh, my daughter Oliver, well, her name is Oliver 2.0, just sent me some roses and a big TikTok tea or something over on TikTok. So thanks, guys. Thank you, Gracie. All right. So first off, I'm a numbers geek, and I was really excited about hitting milestones. Now, I set a goal to hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube this year. Didn't hit it. Going to hit around 6,500 or something like that. And guess what? That's okay, because I was originally going to set a goal of 5,000 subscribers. And if I'd have set a goal at 5,000, I don't know, maybe I would have made 4, maybe I would have made 5, not sure. But I am excited that I hit 5,000 subs this year. And then I hit 6,000. And guess what? It's just a number, but it's one of those things that it's a milestone. And we all want to rejoice. And I tell everybody, rejoice and celebrate your milestones, because it's a mile marker in the journey. It's not a destination. And it's a way to look back on how far you've came from where you started. And I'm going to share someone else. Hey, my daughter Alice is in the live chat over on TikTok too. Hi, sweetheart. Always good to have her. So to me, that was one of the big highlights this year. Just one of the small things that was a mile marker along the way. Now, number 2, this one actually means a lot to me. And when I look back on my top 10 of last year, this was in there as well. But having my wonderful wife, Becky, having her join me on so many live streams this year has been so awesome. I love it. It is just absolutely great, because here's the thing. I love creating content and I love spending time with my wife. So if we can put these two together, and when she comes down and we hang out, we have so much fun together. I love it, especially when we do our movie episodes and that sort of thing. So being able to get my wife on a regular basis to come down, and I think it's going to become an even more regular basis. Her and I have been talking about, if you guys know the upcoming TV show, The Last of Us, based on the video game, we are going to do a weekly after party show or after show review. Anyway, we're going to do a weekly review of that show, because it's post-apocalyptic and it is, it's exciting. Let's just put it that way. So I can't wait. I'm excited to do more with my wife. Absolutely. And yeah, so here we are. Just hang on here for a second. Just got a notice from Float, and I just wanted to see, wow. Oh my. So we knew things were bad. Guys, this is live. I'm going to share this with you right now about Float. Just got this pinned message from Aaron. It said, Dear Float family, we wanted to reach out and update you on some changes that have been happening at Float over the past few months. As you may know, like many other companies, we've been facing some challenges this year due to the economic downturn and crypto bear market. Additionally, the social media landscape has been rapidly evolving, and we have been closely monitoring these developments. After much consideration, our team has made the decision to shift our business model from a social media network to a social media management platform. This will be similar to sites like Hootsuite and Buffer in nature, but with a focus on alternative social platforms. To support this transition, we'll be rebranding Float and working with a new set of investors and developers who are aligned with our values. We are excited to announce our team. We understand this change can be difficult, but we believe the shift is necessary, blah, 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 blah. Oh boy, guys, that's crazy. I didn't plan on going there at all tonight. This is looking forward to things that have happened in 2022, but it sounds like Float that we knew is no longer. It has been an issue for quite some time. So there we are, live breaking news. That's crazy. I've never had a live breaking news story while I was doing a live stream, but that is crazy. We knew something was wrong at Float. We knew things were going on behind the scenes, and there we are. So, so long to an old friend. Loved them. They were great while they were there. And Renegade Butcher, I'm going to read that comment because I'm kind of in agreement. Renegade says, sounds like a new money grab, and we all lost money on Float. Sounds like they're moving on to new investors and leaving everybody in the dirt. I really hope this. Anyway, I'm going to hold back on a lot of commentary on that, but we all knew something was wrong. I put a lot of support behind Float. No money. I didn't put any money because I wasn't sure, but I shared them everywhere. Well, there it is. So anyway, I will do some more discussing on that later on, but we knew it was coming. I don't know what they did. They screwed the pooch with that last update, and it was a mess. So let's move back to the positive stuff. I had to deal with that. I didn't even know that was coming tonight. So 5,000 subscribers. Awesome. Having my wife absolutely coming in here and hanging out with me and doing awesome shows and wanting to do it more, even better. Oh, Chris Dixon's got to catch a replay. Got sympathy dinner. Poor guy fell and hurt his knee on the ice yesterday. So feel better, brother. All right. Now, number 3. This was a really cool one this year, but it was listening to John Willis's advice on TikTok. Back in May, he says, if you're not on TikTok, you're wrong. And I thought, oh, I don't have the energy to make shorts. Well, let me talk about my buddy, Eric Porterhouse from Porterhouse and Teal on YouTube. If you want to see the massive amount of growth that you can get doing short content, short form content right now, look at his channel. Went from 500 subscribers to 14,000 this morning over less than 2 months. Short form is where it's at to get eyeballs quick, but I've really embraced the short form content. I'm, 800 subscribers away from 10,000. So I'm going to get there. I love it. It's been bringing a ton of content, a ton of eyeballs to the content. And Jason on TikTok or on YouTube says, John is on TikTok because of me. Then Jason, I'm on TikTok because of you. So, and I love it. I am so happy I did it. It has brought a ton of growth to the workshop this year. And it was something that as of May of this year, I had zero interest in doing. And it took off a mind of its own. And now I put that same short content. It goes to, let's see, guys. So here's a lesson on repurposing. But my TikTok video, 60 seconds. They go to TikTok. They go on Instagram as a reel. They go on a separate YouTube Shorts channel, which I on purpose do not promote it at all. It's an experiment. But anyway, it also goes on Facebook, which is starting to grow up really, really quick. That page is picking up a lot. I just had a video hit 50,000 views there. And now I'm throwing it up on Twitter as well. I did a whole bunch of changes this year. And of course, you've got to cut things off and go to the things that are working, try new things. So now I'm on Rumble. I'm on Twitter. I dropped Float. Another thing, here it is. But so as of January 10th this year, Fireside Freedom is going to be extinguished. It has run its course. You could kind of tell. But so we're done with that as well. It's time to move on from some things and on to bigger and better things. Hello, Tracy on TikTok. Douglas Ridge Farms. I'm going to save this comment for just a little bit longer here. We're going to star that one for after. And Jason just hit 34,000 on TikTok. Way to go, man. I'm proud of you. I love it. TikTok is the platform to grow right now. Now, the next two. Oh, boy. Here we are. Angry American, or Chris Weatherman. That interview was a big deal for me, man. I got to tell you. So I learned a lot about reaching out to authors and, bigger name guests by figuring out how to get Chris on the show. And then just before I had to be away, I had to be in the city, and I took all my gear with me. And the night before, they canceled because his daughter was in the hospital. And I was, I felt bad that it happened, but I was sad too. I was disappointed. Let's put it that way. I thought, oh shit. Anyway, I ended up having him on. And it was like a 3-hour interview. It was just one of the highlights of the year. And if you haven't heard it yet, guys, go back and listen to it. I think it was long enough that I had to split it into 2 parts, but it was awesome. If you don't know this, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but it is the Going Home book series is a personal favorite of mine and a personal favorite of a lot of people in the workshop. And so to get Chris on there was a huge get for the workshop. I learned a ton from him. I love talking to him. We're definitely going to have him back. But then I set my sights just a little bit higher and went after William Fortune. And I was really excited about that. That was huge. I've learned a lot about reaching out to guests this year, guys. And I've wanted to bring in the people that we can all learn from and be inspired from the most just as much as we can. And I was so proud to get William Fortune on here, and who told me to call him Bill from now on, which is really weird. But anyway, so I'm going to have him back on too, I believe. But that episode, you know how they say you shouldn't have a favorite kid? Well, Alice is in the chat right now, so no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but you shouldn't have a favorite episode. But boy, guys, it's pretty hard to top that episode for me this year, just on the sheer excitement. Hey, Grounded Souls, good to have you, Corey. Always love having familiar faces in the TikTok chat. So yeah, the William Fortune episode was awesome. Just seen today. I haven't even posted on social media. There is, I believe it is in August. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. It's going to be called 5 Years Later, and it's his new book. There is a tentative release date for both Audible and for printed as well. And I just took a screenshot this morning. I was pretty excited. There we are. August 22nd, 2023 is the tentative release date of that. Jason said he took a training class with Alan Kay. Yeah, I know Alan. He was the winner of the first season of Alone, I do believe. I would love to do that. Oh, wow, cool. Jason, we got to talk sometime, some more, man. Obviously, in person we'll get a chance. But he said, Chris and Mel are good people. I printed a run of t-shirts for him. Awesome. Love it. Hey, Nathan, I believe that might be my nephew on TikTok as well. Good to have you. So yeah, exciting times, guys. Oh boy. And then the year just got better and better and better. And these were all, I always get ugly when people say, well, things just blew up for you. Well, anyway, overnight success, it's been 3 years in the making, right? So I don't know. I still get chills thinking about this, but being asked to be part of the preparedness panel at Self-Reliance Festival with Billy Bond, John Willis, and Jack Spirko, 3 men whom I look up to. Yep. You want to believe I took a selfie with all 3 of them while we were on stage? Not a problem at all. That was one of the highlights of my year. And to think about it now, I still get chills, guys. It was cool because it all just starts and then it gets there. Jason says, oh my God, I love the 1 Second After series. Yeah, so I'm going to toot my own horn here, Jason. But if you want to go back, I can send you the link later. But I did an interview with him for about an hour and a half earlier this year. It was so much fun. The dude is just a genius, and he was very entertaining as well. Sat there just like, your typical, stereotypical old author smoking a cigarette and chatting. He's a good dude. Now, I have talked a lot this year about the importance of in-person meetup. And of course, Chris Dixon, who had to leave because he had an in-person meetup tonight, is a perfect example of that. But my wife and I we invested quite a bit of time and some money, of course, to travel down to the States twice this year for in-person meetups with freedom-loving, voluntarist-minded folk. It was incredible, and I just loved it. So I went to the LFTN Living Free in Tennessee Spring Workshop in April. And then I went to Prepper Camp in September in North Carolina and Self-Reliance Festival in September/October. And it was awesome, guys. I met so many people that have been my quote unquote imaginary internet friends for so many years. And yeah, you're like-minded when you meet on the internet, but when you meet in person, you get to shake their hand, whether it was, Brian and Corey or Brian Norton or Chicken Hawk or Jack Spirko or John Willis, or the list goes on and on. But to meet these people that I've talked to over the years and to have in-person fellowship, there's nothing better at all. Jason said one of the highlights of his year was having Jack Spirko drink right off his still. Yeah. And funny story about that still. I can't remember who I was talking to at Self-Reliance Festival, but I was probably 20 feet, 30 feet away from Jason. I didn't know there was a still there at the time. And I'm talking to this guy and I keep getting this whiff of alcohol. And I'm like, God damn, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and this guy's a wino. I'm like, he's got lots of nice things to say, but he smells just like alcohol. And I'm sitting there and I keep getting a whiff and I'm like, man, this guy must be half in the bag. And finally, I turn over and look, and there's this still, and that's where the smell's coming from. I'm really glad I didn't bring the topic up while I was talking to the guy, because it was pretty funny. Another really cool experience was sitting in the sunshine at prepper camp. This was something, okay, guys, when you make some incredible contacts, incredible things happen for you. So Rick and Jane, Survivor Jane and Survivor Rick from, that run prepper camp. Rick sends me a message about a month or two before prepper camp. And he's like, listen, Brad, who is better known as 5 Times August, is going to be at prepper camp. And I think you should interview him. Here's his email. So I'm email Brad. I set it up. And just so you know, shit doesn't always go the way you plan on it. But we had one of the greatest conversations. I just loved it. Here's the deal, guys. I didn't know him from Adam. The only connection I had was I remembered that really funny video and song making fun of Justin Trudeau. Didn't realize what all Brad was into. We sit down and I go in blind with the interview, and awesome. I go to check on the interview after a half an hour. Nothing but video, no audio. I forgot to turn my cordless mic on. Yep, that was awful. Anyway, I looked at him and I said, Brad, I need to apologize, but here's the deal. We just did this in killer interview and I got no audio. He's like, no problem. I'll be back in an hour. We'll do it again. I thought, well, okay. And he came back and it was a really good interview. You don't always get that spontaneous energy that you got out of the first one, but it was still really good. When I stood on stage and Jack Spirko said he was proud of me, somebody who I would consider a mentor, even though we've never had a formal mentor-mentee relationship, just from listening to him over the years. And I've molded so much of what I teach and how I teach it off of what Jack has taught. Once again, guys, oh man, that was a year. How about this? If you guys haven't taken any tactical rifle or handgun training, holy fuck, guys, this was an incredible year. And how can a person be so blessed, but being part of an incredible community? And then I got to become part of another family, the tactical response family. I went and did 4 days of fighting pistol and fighting rifle training, and it changed my life. 10%, it changed my life. Boy, it was good. I'm just going to leave it at that. Becky and I, you guys have heard walking to freedom. Well, this might be some driving to freedom, but we bought 10 acres of land in Tennessee this year as a backup to a backup to a backup plan. We got a taste of that freedom and we couldn't get it out of our blood. So guess what? We are going to build an off-grid property down there and we're going to have a hell of a time. Maybe it'll even be a little on-grid at times, but yeah, that for me was a huge milestone for everything in the workshop this year. Martinson family said when I was drinking a few homebrew with the AM coffee was normal. Fair enough. Okay. Getting back into public speaking this year, guys, was a huge step for me. I hadn't been in front of a crowd in probably almost 20 years, probably since just after graduation, so 2003. Jason, you are right. All I can say about that, so Jason says Tactical Response Alumni is a true family. We will just about do anything for each other. That is no word of a lie. So I had Kayla on the show for an interview, and it was awesome. And then there was somebody I wanted to get a hold of that I couldn't make contact with. And so I messaged Kayla and she's like, yeah, you're part of the family. I'll make a contact for you. And guess what? She did. And it was awesome. And I was really happy about it. And anyway, it worked out really well. And it's something that is still going on behind the scenes. Let's just put it that way. So there we are. Really excited about it. But yeah, if you're ever wondering, should I go to Tactical Response? The answer is yes, because you will become part of the Tactical Response alumni, which they consider family, and it will blow you away. That's all I can say about it, guys. It's awesome. Getting back into public speaking was a huge step for me this year. I loved it. I was happy getting back into it, and I got up on stage and I felt like I'd never left. Enough with that. How about the Patch of the Month Club? Holy shit, guys. I've been blown away with your guys' response for that. So thank you. Thank you very much. it is pretty cool. Dan joined the other day, Dan Matney, and he said he was thinking, he's like, Tim, why don't you have a membership support brigade or some sort of membership program like Nicole or Jack do? And all of a sudden it hit him. He's like, oh yeah, that's what your Patch of the Month Club is. So that means that I'm not doing a good enough job positioning what the Patch of the Month Club is. But again, that came from a throwaway conversation, one of those ideas that percolated in the back of my brain all year, and then I launched it. So there it is. Okay. I saved this spot for a special shout out to Brian from the Lots Project, because Brian and I bounce a lot of ideas off each other. We chat back and forth, and I try to help him everywhere I can, and he tries to help me. And he's always coming to me with these incredible ideas. And then I'm like, well, you know, if you're looking for a partner on this, and that's what happened with the silver rounds. That was so much fun. I have so many ideas of things I want to do with the silver rounds, and they're coming. And we're going to launch another shipment of them coming up in the new year, which is really cool. But I don't even know how to describe how much I appreciated Brian this year. There's so many things we've worked on together that he's kind of pushed me in the right direction, or something he said has inspired something in my brain. So have people like Brian from the Lots Project, guys. Have people you can talk to. You know, have people like Chris Dixon that I can message any time of the day or night when I'm having a good or a bad day to just vent, because it's important. Have those people, build that community so that you can lean on each other. And so when you have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, you don't pack it in and call it quits, right? So that kind of shit's important. And then two more cool things that we launched this year that I love. And if you didn't know about this, the book club. So we have what we call the post-apocalyptic book club. And it's fucking awesome. Yep, I said it. It's fucking awesome. So we are on book 7 of the Going Home book series. And it's a very kind of natural. Anyway, so here's how it goes. Brian just says, love you, brother. Yeah, I love you too, man. I really do. You don't know how much I appreciate you. And Renegade says, Brian and I bounce shit off ejectitol all the time. I think that's supposed to say each other, but just because it's coming from Renegade, I'm going to be funny. But absolutely, we need the community and people we vibe with. We vibe with. Oh my God. Anyway, what a great day. What a great night, guys. So the book club, post-apocalyptic book club. We're doing the Going Home book series. We're going into book 7. We have a special Telegram group with like 25 people in it. Whoever's around comes on the live. We have as many people as there are. And if there's 2 of us, there's 2 of us. Nate has been my old standby. He's on with me every month. And then we have a few other people who come on, Rachel and John and a few others. And it's fun. I love it. We sit around, we shoot the shit about these books. We drink a little more that night. It's a lot of fun. So if you want to be part of it, feel free to come by anytime. If you're in the book club, you'll get the StreamYard link, or if you just want to chat in the background, you can do that too. And then, of course, because I get these ideas and I think this is what I want to do, I love the workshop community. I want us to fellowship and have fun together. We started this thing called the Workshop Watch Party. And I still haven't decided if it's going to be every couple of months or every month. I'm kind of leaning every 2 months at this point. But since the all-time greatest Christmas movie ever is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, we had the inaugural Workshop Watch Party where we logged in, and it was very similar to an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. We sit around, we watch the movie, and we talk about it. And it was fun. We had a ball. We all drank. We all sat around and shot the shit. And we quoted the movie before the movie quoted itself. And it worked. And we didn't have too many hiccups on it. Of course, it was only on Telegram and StreamYard, because that kind of thing you can't stream live like on most platforms, because anyway, you can understand. And Grounded Souls, Corey said it's a great community. You are right. And it's great because of all the people that are in it. So I just spent 35 minutes talking about my accomplishments this year, but they're not mine. They're ours. The workshop's crazy. February 2019. So what would that be? 3 years ago? 2020, whatever. Anyway, it's been 3 years since I launched this. And when I was in this exact office with these beautiful green walls behind me, mumbling to myself, I maybe way back in the back of my brain thought some of this might be possible in 10 years, 15 years. I mean, I knew I wanted this shit to happen, but it's happening and it's happened, and it's going to be better and bigger. And there's going to be so many cool things coming up this year. So that's the start. Jason says the book club sounds awesome. He says, I use Audible. Oh, okay. So here's the deal. Jason says the book club sounds awesome. I use Audible because I don't have time to read. I have 300 books. Most of them are post-apocalyptic fiction. So I use the term read. I haven't read a physical book in 5 years. I haven't done the numbers yet. Last year was like 75 books I read on Audible. This year's probably a little less than that, but some of them I've reread a couple of times. So yeah, when I say read, what I really mean is most of us, because we're all get shit doners, we really don't have a whole lot of time to sit around and read, physical paper book. So we all pretty much listen through Audible as well. So yeah, you are welcome anytime, Jason. I would love that. So, all right. I'm going to grab a couple of, so these were my highlights from 2021, just to see where things came and went. But yeah, hitting 1,000 subscribers was a huge highlight of the year. Joining the Prepper Broadcast Network was a huge highlight of my year. In 2021, launching the Workshop podcast was the highlight of my year. 18 months ago, I launched this podcast, guys, and I have, I didn't quite reach my goal this year of having 1,000 downloads per episode, but I would say half of my episodes hit 1,000 downloads across all platforms at this point. And if I wanted to fudge, I don't mean fudge the numbers, but if I wanted to take averages of all downloads from all platforms, I'd be pretty damn close to that. But, for recent episodes, yeah, there have been some that have been over 1,000 downloads across all platforms. And that's what I was shooting for. In 18 months, guys, that's crazy. Thank you. Because holy shit, it's awesome. I love this. The reason, I don't know, there's so many reasons, but one of the reasons that I launched the Workshop podcast was because I was Toolman Tim. And what was Toolman Tim expected to do? Because the YouTube algorithm says so, I'm supposed to make tool review videos. I love talking about tools, but I also love talking about preparedness and movies and books and Christmas traditions and bourbon and 1,000 other things. And the only way that I was going to keep my brain, motivated and excited was to have an outlet like this podcast where I can share with you guys, you can share with me, and I can talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. And there we are, right? And that's why I'm doing this, because I love it. And to be honest, this is going to be a huge portion of my income. Well, it already is. It's a significant portion now. Hey, Robin Holstein, good to have you. And by the end of next year, my plan is for it to generate enough income that we could live off it if that's all I made. So it's coming. It's coming, and I love it. Brian says, my highlight was meeting Toolman Tim. F&A. What a good dude. Thank you, my friend. And Renegade Butcher said, 18 months, man, you grew this thing like a beast. Yeah. John Palmer said he listened to 130 episodes last year. Thank you. What do I say? Thank you. It's friggin' incredible. My first live stream, guys, was 18 months ago. No, less than that. Probably 13, 14 months ago in the garage. All I had was my phone sitting there and my microphone, and the sound kept cutting out, and I had almost no connection. It was just awesome. Awful, sorry. But anyway, that's where we start. So here's the thing. So what I want to talk about, baby steps. If you guys heard my presentation at Prepper Camp, it's all about baby steps. The old What About Bob movie from the early 90s there with Bill Murray. We all start with small things, but the power of compound interest, right? Now, I'm going to have the numbers a little bit wrong here, but the intent is right. So if you improve one thing, 1%, every single day of the year, by the end of the year, I want to say it's around 3,800% improvement. That's the power of incremental improvements. And that's the shit you can get done if you commit to it. Because here's the thing. If you want to be successful on something, you got to be kind of obsessed with it. And I'm kind of obsessed with building this workshop community, and it's friggin' awesome. I love it. And Martinson says you need to curse more. Fuck being polite. Be honest. I fucking swear all the time, guys. I swear like a sailor, and the F word is punctuation for me. So I just hold it back sometimes while I'm on the podcast. I'm not even sure why. Sometimes I think it just gets in the way of the point I'm trying to prove. But yeah. Jason said, found you from John and Nicole's interview with you, and I was thinking this metric system guy sounds cool and started following you. Yeah, the fucking metric system. That's a whole nother story for another day, but it works. I like it. Okay, so here's the thing. All right. We're going to skip over a few of those. We've been 40 minutes already, and it's been a fucking incredible episode. Patting myself on the back. I don't know. It's just straight fire tonight, guys. That's all there is to it. So we are going to start with next, getting shit done in 2022. So I put this out there like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours before I went live. So I didn't get a ton, but I got some, and they're awesome. So what I asked people on Telegram and a bunch of other things was, what accomplishment are you most proud of in 2022? And I got some awesome ones. So here they go. I'm going to share. I think I have 6 here, and then we got one in the text or in the chat tonight. So while I'm doing this, I want you guys to share with me so that I can share them live, so they can go out across all the interwebs and people can hear these on the recording afterwards. But I want you to share with me the greatest thing that you are absolutely proud of that you accomplished this year. And it can be tiny and it can be huge. I don't care. But share it with me and we'll get them out there. So first off, Lisa K was awesome. And some of these, of course, are handy related, right? Remodeling our whole living room and front entry right down to the studs in less than a week back in July. Would never work under that kind of timeline again, but whoa, it was cool to know we could. Yeah, and I don't know about you, but the older I get, the harder those type of jobs become. But kicking ass and taking names, Lisa, that is huge. I love it. I've had Ed on the show too, Jason. Jason says Ed Hubble is a good guy from British Columbia. He's alumni, and I'm always busting his balls about being a metric system snow Mexican. Ed's an awesome dude. I had him on once. We're definitely going to meet in person at some point. I really want to bring him here for the workshop. I haven't 100% decided if it's going to be late June or middle of August. I don't know yet. Haven't decided. I'm kind of leaning more toward August, but it's coming. It's a huge deal that's going to happen. So Mia on MeWe said, I made this one almost makes me want to cry a little bit, guys. I made it a full year being self-employed and made more money than I did at my miserable job. I probably would have cussed in there if that were me. But here's the thing. You can absolutely do it. Whoever is out there thinking, I don't know if I can, but you can, because I did it, and I did it in spite of myself. Building a business. It's fucking incredible, guys. The freedom, all the bullshit we went through over the last 3 years. March 13th is coming up. So that'll be 3 years since the world went to hell in a handbasket. And being self-employed was hugely important to us during that time. That's all I'm going to say, but it's incredible. Awesome. Aaron, someone who I've met in person, Aaron Lemaster, whom I consider a really good friend. Aaron and Nate from Devin Johns. Wow, I used to work with him on in the oil patch, and he left, but it's good to see him. John Palmer says, catch you later, Tim. I'm worthless, never accomplished anything. I know he's full of bullshit there, guys. John, you did, absolutely. But good to have you, brother. Always appreciate you. Aaron said, not homestead related. Here's the thing. So Aaron is so damn polite that in order for her to toot her own horn, she has to apologize before she does it. Aaron, you need to stop doing that. Listen to me. If you hear this or somebody else, let her know. I didn't say it needed to be homestead related, but since she's a content creator on homesteading, I think she felt like she had to say, well, it's not homestead related. So we're going to eliminate those first 3 words of Aaron's accomplishment this year. And we're going to read the last 5, 6 words. Started and finished writing a book. Do you guys hear that? How cool is that? I've started 2 books and haven't finished either of them. And the first one I started was 4 friggin' years ago. So toot your own horn, Aaron. You deserve it. That is a big job. And she wrote the entire thing in November. There you go. Jason, Kentucky Sustainable Living. Starting my YouTube channel and growing it along with the whole group we have in Kentucky. And he's kicking ass and taking names. I had Jason on the show. He's a guy I consider a friend at this point. He helped me out one day when my voice was really bad. He just messaged me. He's like, I know you don't have a guest tomorrow night, and I know your voice is really struggling. So if you want me to come on, as long as my wife says it's okay, I'll come on. And he did. He was on, and we had an awesome episode, man. I'm going to save Jason's here. We got 2 awesome things that people are proud of in the comments there. Next is my buddy Hawkins. Follow him. Well, follow everybody. Aaron Lemaster and Nate, they have 2 Chicks Homestead. Jason Sparks has Kentucky Sustainable Living on YouTube. Hawkins is Hawkins Farmstead. Anyway, Chicken Hawk Farmstead channel on YouTube. Boy, only had half a friggin' drink and I'm stumbling over my words, but I just get so excited. My mouth moves faster than my brain, guys. So Chicken Hawk, Hawkins, added goats and quail to the homestead. Plus, I hit 2,000 subscribers on my YouTube. Chicken Hawk is one of the first guys I started kind of chatting with and collaborating with early on when I was content creating. And he was in on the very first, before I had any reason or right to do it, I reached out to a ton of content creators and I'm like, hey, I want to put together a tour view collaboration. I'll do all the work and I'll give you guys the credit. And of course, Chicken Hawk was in on it. It was awesome. So there you go. Richard R says, this is a good one too. Lots Project, man. Knocking out the back wall to my pantry and extending it out under the stairs. I learned plenty of new skills from my Canadian uncle, who is like the dad I always wanted but never had. That's awesome. The Lots Project just sent me a super chat for $10. Thank you, brother. Here's to 2023 and hitting all your goals. Keep rocking it, man. You too. Brian is trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I sent it out on social the other day, and I think we got him about 15. He's now at 950, though, so we're getting him close. And as soon as he hits it, he's going to give a whole bunch of shit away. So I'm excited. One of those is going to be a year subscription to the Patch of the Month Club. So get over there and subscribe to the Lots Project if you're not there yet, guys. Okay, and since you're here, Brian, I want you to share what you're most proud of this year. I guess you already did, but something else too. So here's 3 from you guys that I want to share so everybody hears it. But Douglas Ridge Farms. Hey, Tim, ended the year distributing 1,200 meal kits to families in need yesterday. We had over 100 cars show up with some pretty humbling stories. Posted a short on my page if you're ever browsing. There you go, guys. What else do I say? Jason, who is the Moonshine Man, who's also the T-shirt man, who does everything and anything, apparently. He said, the thing I'm proud that happened to me, I got and printed the biggest T-shirt order of my life. It was a $20,000 order. I got it done 2 weeks earlier than I said it would be done. Under promise, over delivered. Every day of the week, guys. Kicking ass, Jason, kicking ass. Josh, Renegade Butcher, says, bring it up here. Sorry, guys. I think the thing I am most proud of is networking with all of you awesome people and letting myself get talked into actually making content. Sometimes I need to do more, but you all are the reason. And if you guys want to see a pretty classy looking sword fighter, Josh puts content out about everything, and he puts out a sword training fighting video just every so often, long enough that I forget. And then I see this crazy guy without a shirt on swinging a sword around, and I'm thinking, if I did that, I'd cut my junk off. But apparently he's really good at it. So check him out on social, guys, or on all the places, because he's an inspiring dude. What do we got coming up here? So yep. And here we are. Lots Project. And this is what I am talking about right here. Had Brian on the show. Was it a year ago now, Brian? Year and a half ago? He was one of the earlier guests. He's been on 2 or 3 times. So at that time, he said, he had just rebranded to the Lots Project. I'm like, Lots. Like, do you have lots of something? I don't know. What, like, are you living in a trailer court? I'm not sure. And it means living outside the system. And he said, hopefully within a year, Corey and I are going to be full-time RVing. And guess what? Here's Brian's biggest accomplishment of the year. Finally hit the road in the RV, 2.5 years in the making. There you go, guys. If you want something, go the fuck after it. Make it fucking happen every day of the week, because what are you going to do? My daughter and I, Charlotte, were talking earlier about she rags on her Gen Z generation a ton. And we were talking about the difference between equality and equity. And I basically said, sweetheart, life isn't fair. And she knows this. And I said, you need to make whatever you want happen. You need to make it happen in your life. And that's what all these people did this year. So there you go. Hey, Aaron, your ears must have been burning. We just had you on here. We were just talking about you. See, Jason, and this is the way it is. Jason is just a guy who moved to the middle of Tennessee, the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, to homestead and be left alone and be self-sufficient as possible. Moonshining is a good skill to have. We're all just a guy. We're all just a girl. We're all just doing what we do. And for some reason, we inspire some people. We get inspired along the way. And some of us do some pretty friggin' incredible things for whatever reason, right? And so, yeah, Jason, you're more than just a guy. You're a guy who is passionate about homesteading. You're a guy who's passionate about moonshining, and it's contagious. And when you get around you, you know it. And obviously, you are a get shit done kind of guy. So, hey, I'm glad to consider you an acquaintance, and I can't wait for us to have a drink together next time I'm down in Tennessee. Oh, almost running out of booze there, guys. That's okay. We got more bottles. So let's go through these really quick. Now, hang on here, guys. We're just going to slide on. So there's so much we've talked about tonight, and I have this whole list of goals that I set at the beginning of 2022. And if I go over it all, it's going to be a lot of rehashing of things that I've already talked about. So we're not going to rehash everything. But what I am going to do is I'm going to pick a few goals just to say these are some things that I shot for, some things I missed. But all those goals, when I set goals at the beginning of the year, they are my roadmap for the year. They're what helps me make decisions. They're what helps me decide where I'm going to go, where I'm going to spend my time, what I'm going to do. And of course, I've talked about it at the beginning of the show, but Mrs. Cook, Mrs. Toolman, Becky, the love of my life, is there all the time, pushing me on, telling me to do this, because this wouldn't be 10% of it what it is, if it wasn't for her support, because she is constantly, yeah, go do this, hon, go do that. Go to Tennessee and North Carolina and spend a bunch of money and be away for 2.5 weeks. I'll hold the fort down for you because you're going to build us a better life. Who could ask for a better wife than that right there, hey? So, a few goals that I set this year. I told you, 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Didn't hit it. I'm going to hit 6,500 in a couple of days. Or maybe I'm there. I can't remember. I'm 6,000 and something, I guess. Doesn't matter. But that goal was there. That helped me move toward it. It's not the be-all, end-all, and I'm really trying to work on that, guys. Because if it's just a number, when you hit the number, where do you go from there? So just use it as motivation. I set a goal. Okay, you need to know this, guys, that when I started this year, and I want to talk about goals just a little bit. So when I started this year, I was getting less than or about 100 downloads in 2 weeks on all my episodes. And I set a goal to get 1,000 listeners per episode. Excuse me. I need something cold to drink there. So I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew that was what I needed to do. And yeah, so like I said, I could, I've had 1,000 unique listeners, in a week. I've had an audience size hit over 1,000, but I've even had some individual episodes go over 1,000 total downloads across all platforms. And that's exciting, but that was my goal. That's what I ended up shooting for. And I wasn't there, and I wasn't even 1% toward it, but I set that goal. 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Didn't quite hit it, but guess what? That's okay. Here's another big disappointment. No, it wasn't a disappointment, but I thought I had a Lowe's sponsorship lined up, and they approved me. And I said, but I'm a Canadian. Will you actually send me free stuff? Oh yeah, no problem. Fill out all the paperwork, tax forms, everything. And they're like, oh, you're a Canadian. I'm like, no fucking shit, I'm a Canadian. I've told you that in every email we've responded. Oh, we don't sponsor Canadians. Okay. And then a few months later, if you guys didn't know this, I haven't even mentioned it yet, but Lowe's is pulling out of Canada altogether. So go figure. But yeah, that was a big disappointment. But disappointment's a part of the awesome things that happen. And I think overall, it was for the best. Aaron says, always love stories of spouses or significant others being supportive of each other. It's important because if you're not a team, it's a hell of a lot harder to do anything special or incredible. All right. Improve my review videos this year, guys. That was something that's hard because I was listening to Mike Rowe the other day, and he was talking about, it was a quote from Stephen King, and I can't remember what it was, but basically it was, sometimes you need to kill things that are absolutely important to you. So I decided that I needed to make my review videos better. So I got rid of all the long self-promotion at the beginning of the videos. I made them shorter, 8-9 minutes maximum. I state upfront exactly what they're about, and I focus on the videos that bring in the most views. And guess what? It's a slog, but you know, my weekly, my daily views, everything is up probably 10 times what it was last year. So if you're willing to cut out the things that you might be attached to, but they're not working for you, you're going to find more success. Yeah, I set a goal of being on 12 podcasts this year, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I made it on 12 podcasts this year. So actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different podcasts this year, guys. So a rising tide floats all boats. And I've talked about it before. The more eyeballs you get in front of, the more true fans you're going to find. And Renegade, you are absolutely right. TikTok has been good for me this year. I love short form content. It forces me to shut up and get out of the way. But that's why I podcast, so that I don't have to shut up and get out of the way. So I had planned on putting together 2 books this year, 2 preparedness manuals. I have about a 45-page outline for those 2 books. Books aren't going to be done this year. Moving right along. Here's another one. Last year, at this time, when I set my goals, I knew that I was signed up to speak at Living Free in Tennessee. That was the only one I was signed up for. Do you know what I set for a goal? 3 speaking engagements last year. Guess where I did? Living Free in Tennessee, Prepper Camp, and Self-Reliance Festival. And I didn't even know about Prepper Camp or Self-Reliance Festival. I didn't even know Prepper Camp existed when I set those goals. So guess what? There you go. Sometimes we set the goals and then we make it happen afterwards, right? Pick up property management. That was a personal goal for me, and we made it happen. I love it. Anyway, my word of the year. I do it because Jenny Hill, I believe, is the one who first started it in the Living Free in Tennessee group. And I don't know, it's fun. It's like an overall theme for the year. So my word was invest. The idea was that I wanted to spend as much time collaborating as I possibly could this year. I wanted to get into everybody's communities. I wanted to reach out to everybody's communities. And I think I really succeeded with that, guys. And I was excited. Moving right along. Becoming a better interviewer, becoming a better podcaster, becoming a better reviewer. So reviewer, I already talked about that. Becoming a better podcaster, well, repetitions. It's like when you learn, hey, Ricky just joined over on TikTok. Good to have you. So here's the thing. Becoming a better podcaster, how do you do it? Well, first off, you podcast, right? It's the only way to get better at something is to do more of it. And then you consume podcasts as well. You watch people. I used to, for those of you who don't know, I originally trained to be a pastor back in the day. And John Simons was the guy who taught me how to public speak. And he always said that if you want to be a better speaker, pay attention to people that you enjoy. So somebody you listen, you learn from, you're entertained by. Watch what they do and you'll get better. Becoming a better interviewer, same thing. So I spent a ton of time this year watching, 3 different ones. Joe Rogan, I don't listen to his full episodes, but I love his introductions. The first 10 minutes of his shows is when he relaxes people. He gets them. He has a hook question somehow. And so I watched a ton of his intros from old episodes on YouTube. And you don't watch them for entertaining. You watch them for information, right? Hot Ones. Sean, I think is it Sean Evans? Sean, anyway, who interviews people while they eat hot wings. He always has a moment in every interview where they're like, how did you know that? And I have strived when I have certain interviews, I have strived to have those questions. Stop saying Tim. No, just kidding. So William Fortune was on the show, and I asked him about his first job as working at a horse race track. And you could tell it took him back. He's like, how the hell did you know that? And I love it. That is my goal when I interview somebody, is to get that aha moment. And I want to talk. I want to get people talking until you find that thing that makes their eyes light up. And when their eyes light up, I don't care if they're talking about, recycled paper or Warhammer or Magic the Gathering or Dungeons. I don't care what it is, because when you find that thing that makes people's eyes light up, well, guess what? You are going to be entertained, informed, and there's no other way around it. When you find that thing from the people, that's why I have gone more to a flexible, laid-back interview style, because I want to go all over the place until I find the thing that they're absolutely passionate about. Because sometimes they might say, hey, I want to talk about this. And then you get them on there and you're like, ooh, this is way better. Let's chat. So yeah, interviewer, podcaster, those are the things, guys. Jason says, here, we're going to read. Aaron says, Nate went to bed early to hunt tomorrow, so I'm having some needed alone time. We're both supporting each other right now. Becky's upstairs watching TV. I'm down here podcasting. That's what we do. That's where we get our separate time. Becky went to Vegas this year. I went to North Carolina. Becky's going to England next year. It is what it is, right? So, Jason, I was an ASE master technician for 15 years. I never would have stopped turning wrenches and started printing T-shirts full-time if it wasn't for my wife telling me to do T-shirts full-time. Funny how our wives are way smarter than we are, right? So anyway, and then, of course, making connections in Alberta. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, is finding local community, because it's really easy when you can have the pick of 8 billion people in the world. It's pretty easy to find 10 people you jive with. But when you can only pick from people you're within driving distance of, it gets a little harder. And so I don't want to give away all my cool stories that I'm opening up with over on the Workshop Radio on Sunday. But Chris Dixon, just over a year ago, I get this call or text or email or something from this guy that's about 4 or 5 hours away from me. And he's like, hey, you don't know me, but I listened to your podcast, found you through Jack Spirko. He says, I need to drive up through your town, and I'm wondering if you want to have coffee. And I thought, is he going to shoot me and bury me in a slough? Or do I take a chance and meet this crazy guy for coffee? Well, guess what? We had coffee. He came to the house, actually. I invited him over. We hung out in the workshop for like 3 hours. His wife was with him. I think her feet froze right off because I had an uninsulated garage. It was the middle of wintertime, and my heat barely kept up. But it was one of the nicest, incredible meetings, times I had for a long time. So that's where it started. And then this summer, it was July, June. Anyway, Chris came up and spent 2 days here with me. We worked all weekend. We built in-person community. I reached out to Greg from the Apocalyptic Training School out of Edmonton and had him on the show, local guy. Guess what? A couple days later, he messaged me. He says, I like to drive. I'd like to come out and have coffee with you. And him and I sat in the afternoon sun out back drinking coffee for hours, just chatting and sharing stories, because that's where it's at, guys. Absolutely. That's what we do. So And that can be the hardest thing for all of us, is building in-person community. Simple as that. Jason said, here it is. I was scared to death, as John says, to burn the boats. I kept using insurance or retirement as an excuse to quit. So here's the thing, and I don't know how to, I'm not going to tell you to go out and quit your job, because here's what's going to happen. Your wife's going to call me up and say, Tim, you're an asshole. You talked my husband into quitting his job, and now he wants to be a foot model on, I don't know if Corey's still in here, whatever the hell that's called. Anyway, no, he thinks he can make money being a foot model. No, I didn't tell him to quit his job and be a foot model, Mrs. I'm sorry. He misunderstood what I said. So there it is. But the thing is, anybody that I've talked to, or most anybody that I've talked to that has built something successful, has come at it from lighting the bridge and lighting the boats on fire. And to be honest, I haven't been totally, I've never really shared the whole story, but both times I've done something that time let's go back 5 years ago when I started this business. I went into work one day, I walked out of work and never went back. So if I didn't burn a bridge there, I don't know what you call it. Let's just put it that way. I have a hell of a time quitting jobs. Always did. That's why I need to be my own boss, because I just couldn't do it. I just went in one day, went home for the weekend, never went back. Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to do. But I did it. Talk about burning the bridge. I had no choice. I had to make my business succeed. And I did, because of my wife and because of hard work and because of a lot of things. But that is what it happens. That's what happens. I don't know how they knew it, but Renegade and Jason almost beat each other and said only feet. So yeah, there you go. I guess, yeah, it's like OnlyFans, but it's only feet. I don't know. And Chris Dixon, otherwise known as the Dixon Way on YouTube, is absolutely solid. You are right. So what more is there to say, guys? 2022 has been a fucking incredible year. I never even talked about 2023. We talked about the old man that is the year of 2022. And tomorrow night, we're going to talk about the baby that's coming January 1st, 2023. And that's why I decided that it was absolutely time to do this workshop radio thing, because it'll be something that'll focus us on last year and inspire us toward next year to do incredible things. And I always say, don't set resolutions, set goals. And I don't care what it takes to get you to that point. I don't care what magic word you have to use to convince yourself that you're going to do something great this year, but you are. Simple as that. You're going to do something great. Becky and I are going to go to Tennessee this year, and we're going to start clearing that land. Whether we get a structure on it this year or not, I'll be damned if I don't. But if we don't, we don't. But we're going to do it. I have had contacts from 6 or 7 different events this year. I'm pretty sure I'm going to spend the entire September in Tennessee, traveling around and speaking at events. So if you have anything in September that you would like me to come to or speak at or just hang out at, I am exactly excited about that, because September is going to be a great year. I might even try to get a couple of days in at Tactical Response. And I'm also going to work on our property and blah, blah, blah. So many cool things that are coming. Becky looks at me the other night in bed. She's like, hon, you should build a man cave. And I'm like, what do you mean? Outside. I talked about building another garage in our parking area there. It's kind of wasted space. So I think because we never have enough projects, we're going to build this like 24 by 24 garage that's going to become extra living space. It'll be detached from the house. It'll be somewhere we can have Christmas celebrations, but it's going to have a bar, and it's going to have, we're going to have a bar and a theater. Wow, theater, I say a TV, like a roll down screen, and maybe a pinball machine and a pool. I don't know, whatever. But this is what we do in the wintertime. We dream, we set, we make plans for the things we're going to do, because it gives joy to our life when it's minus 40 outside. And if you step outside for too long, your nose is going to turn black and fall off. That's how we get motivated for the spring. It's like looking at seed catalogs. It's just what we do. Man, we got a lot of comments here all of a sudden. One Step Closer says, howdy all. Sorry I'm late, but had to change out. I had a chance to help out a newer client and had to take it. that is what happens. And that, you know what, guys? So I don't live in regrets. I never have. But one thing that I hated having to make the choice of this year was not going to Jack's workshop. It beat me up inside. I was sick to my stomach for a few days before I finally made the decision. But it was because my business grew exponentially overnight and I couldn't be away. I had to be here for it. So don't ever apologize for building your business or making the life you want to live. This old man will be on YouTube in perpetuity. You can watch this video anytime you want, but real life only happens once. So get out there and do shit. And good to have you one step. Renegade Butcher says, burnt more than a few bridges, but sometimes you have to eliminate any opportunity for you to go backwards before you make yourself go forward. Couldn't have said it any better myself, my friend. Aaron says they need to make their way down there in September. Yes, I would love that. And I never even really mentioned how awesome it was to meet up with all my buddies, all my fellow content creators and people I consider friends from the Prepper Broadcast Network. Holy crap, was that ever fun. Got to spend 2 days hanging out and drinking coffee with James, and Ryan saved me a spot in Tent City. Oh, I had fun there, guys. It was a different crowd, but it was still a lot of fun. Met Jester from the It's Apocalypse podcast. He had a really cool live setup that I would love to emulate. Just sitting around after dark by the campfire, drinking something and chatting with some incredible people was just, oh, wow. And then let's close on this memory for tonight. So here's the thing. I overextended myself when I went to North Carolina. I knew I have this habit of filling my days to the brim, but it's worth it sometimes, because sometimes when you're exhausted, that's when you make the best memories. So I ended up going to, over a period of 7 days, I went to North Carolina. I spoke 3 times at Prepper Camp. I left Prepper Camp at 6 o'clock that night, 5 o'clock that night. I had to drive 7 hours. I got about 5.5 hours that night, stopped at a hotel, and I had to be in Camden for 7:45 that morning to go to tactical response. There were probably 10 times where I thought, nope, I'm just going to walk away and I'm not going to go to tactical response. They can keep my money. I'm just too tired. And I said, why would you do that? You have this once in a lifetime opportunity, but I was exhausted. So as I left Prepper Camp, and my brother, Joel from Fortress K9. So if you were the last speaker of the day on the last day, you and your audience were expected to fold up all the chairs. And Joel knew I needed to get on the road. And I just started folding up the chairs. He come running over. He says, you get your ass in that truck and you make miles. So as I'm leaving, Joel's flipping up chairs. I wave to him. I hop in the car. I had everything packed and I just head out because I knew I had to make it. And I'm going through the Smoky Mountains, and the nastiest thunderstorm I've ever seen in my life, just like that. And I'm thinking, here we go, guys. You know, all the plans of mice and men. And I'm just driving through the mountains, and it's beautiful, and it's almost dark. And I look up, and what was a nice clear sky all of a sudden becomes just dark, green and gray. And the wind blows and the rain is going, almost looks like upside down. I can't see anything. I pull over right on the highway as you're going through the mountains. And I'm like, I got my 4-ways on. I have to come to a dead stop on what I think is the highway. And I look over and it's a friggin' rest stop. So I inch my way into the rest stop. And within 10 minutes, the sky's cleared. And I started inching my way on the highway. And within half an hour, the roads were drying up. I make it to Knoxville. I make it to Nashville. I make it past Nashville. I get to my hotel. I get 5 hours of sleep. I get up in the morning. I make it. I grab a coffee at, I don't even remember where, hit the road. I get to tactical response. I have the time of my life. I go 4 days straight at tactical response, do all the training. And then that night was Thursday. And that's when people started showing up at Self-Reliance Festival. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be exhausted, but I wasn't. And I made it work. But I always think about that storm and how incredible and how quick that storm came up and how it hit me out of the blue. And now, for whatever reason, that storm on the side of the road in the middle of the night in North Carolina is one of my fondest memories. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't overbooked myself and I hadn't have figured, make hay while the sun shines, fill your days with as much as you can, and get as much incredible shit done while you're there. And that's when we make our memories, guys. So I'm going to lean on that memory of that crazy thunderstorm and that making tons of miles and driving after dark way too fast on the interstate, listening to reruns of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell and doing whatever I can to keep myself awake until I get to the hotel. That was fun. I loved it. Can't wait to do it again. So guys, that's it for me tonight. Tune in tomorrow night as we look forward to the New Year's baby. We're going to talk about making goals and skipping resolutions. We're going to talk about doing incredible fucking things in 2023. And most importantly, well, not most importantly, but we're going to talk about, don't forget about Workshop Radio on my YouTube channel. The next time we do it, I'm going to have it everywhere. Right now, all I figured out is how to make it work on YouTube. It's going to be audio only for 24 hours straight. It's going to be the background noise, the soundtrack to ring in the new year, to remember all the great things and to look forward to some incredible things. So that's it for me tonight, guys. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and make it a fucking incredible 2023, guys.